and making sure that there is not an interfacing, meaning a humanness is merged with the intelligence, that they are kept separate, that there is not a harnessing, in a sense, of your consciousness, that your consciousness remains sovereign, and that you remain free in the human evolutionary process of your genetic coding. Hi, everybody. So I am Kelly. Some people call me the Angel Lady. And I've been channeling the Angel Raphael, who's the angel of healing, for 35 years or so. Um, and today I am going to bring the Angel Raphael in, and we're going to ask questions about the theme, the frequencies, the trends, the vibrations that we can expect as we move into this year. It's a really big year. It feels pretty massive. There's a lot of information out there about what's happening. And so if you have your hand raised, and in order to do that, if you're listening to this somewhere else and you want to join our spiritual community, it is free to do so. And you just join our free membership below. And then you get the Zoom link and you can ask your own question. So we have plenty of hands raised, but before that, I know that Casey has some questions to ask Raphael, some overview questions. So we're going to do those as well. And a couple announcements. We are having a puja in India. So our beloved Debashri is organizing that with her brother, and it will be live at 9 a.m. It is free. It is open to everyone. You will tune to the vibration and the energies of Lakshmi. Lakshmi carries the frequency of wealth, the frequency of abundance. And we're going to move into deep connection with her through mantras and prayers and offerings. We request that if you're going to join us for that, which is 9 a.m. on Saturday, and if you miss it, don't worry, there is a replay, but that you take time to kind of come into presence, come into yourself. We ask you to wear white. We ask you maybe that morning to take a little extra time just loving yourself, maybe an extra long shower, and just like getting into a really nice space to have your house tidy. Lakshmi likes to come into a place that is orderly. That's one of the ways that we attract abundance into our vibration, is through our own worthiness, and worthiness comes partly from a space of being in order. So maybe tidy up your dishes, make your bed that morning. And we will see you there. We also ask you to bring water. So water can be in a vessel of anything. You may not want it to be in like a coffee cup or a glass that you normally drink out of. Put it in something special. If you have a little crystal bowl or just some little vessel of some sort that is meaningful to you, I ask you to put the water in that. And as we go through the prayers and the mantras, the water and the structure will be programmed to the frequency of wealth, to the vibration of abundance and Lakshmi's energies, and then we'll be working with that as we move into the actual light code. The Abundance Lakshmi light code begins on Monday. It's going to run for 3 weeks at 9 in the morning, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If you miss a call, their calls are about an hour. Sometimes they go over because I'm channeling and it can get pretty intense sometimes. There'll be 12 activations, transmissions, and teachings. If you miss a call, it's not a big deal. You can listen to the replay. They are live and they begin on the full moon, which is January 13th, Monday morning. All right, I think that's all the details around all of that. So if you haven't heard me channel before, or you're new to our spiritual community, in order for me to channel, the way that it works for me is I close my eyes and I make this toning sound and I kind of rock a bit back and forth and my hands sort of move all over the place. And I'm going to say hello. And wherever you are in the world, I ask you to say hello right back. And as you do that, you connect into the vibration and the frequency of the Angel Raphael, the angel of healing, and you begin to connect with that frequency. And then Raphael will come in and answer questions, and we'll do that for about an hour or so. And that'll be that. And then I'll see you guys on Saturday for the puja at 9 o'clock. That will be on Zoom. So if you're listening to this on YouTube, we're not going to present it live on YouTube, but you can get the Zoom link by joining our free membership, and we will send you the Zoom link and you can participate. It's open to everyone. Okay. It's beautiful here where I am right now. It's snow and sweetness, and the light's coming in a little funny, so I hope that doesn't disrupt you guys. Okay, here we go. If you have, just remembering, if you have like an icon of Lakshmi, here's the one that I have. Just think to bring it on Saturday, or if you don't have one and you're doing the light code with us and you want to get one, that would be wonderful. If that's not in your budget, that's okay. Just see if you have like a little yellow crystal or a piece of gold or something sacred to you that you're going to embody the frequency of Lakshmi in and treat it as the vibration of Lakshmi. Start to pay attention to what that might be. And I will be sending out an email to everyone who's in the light code of the things you need to do to get ready. Okay. What? Hello.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello,
Hello.
hello, hello. Ow, ow, ow. We are very delighted, as always, to be here and to attune to all of you and your energy. And we recognize as we are dropping into these frequencies that many of you have things in which you are wanting to ask of us here in this particular format. And so, what is it?
Hi, Raphael. So the first question that we have is, what are your predictions for 2025?
Oh, you are very funny. What are you wanting your predictions for 2025 to be? Hmm.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, well, it would be very important for you to know, because if you are not knowing what it is that you are wanting it to be, then how can it be anything other than what perhaps others are wanting it to be? And then that is what it will be, and then that will be your experience. And so it is of great importance to choose what it is that you are wanting it to be. What we can tell you is that it is a quickening, that it is very fast, that it will move very rapidly, that it will pass in a way in which you will return to this moment in time through your calendar at a very quickened pace, that you are moving through the universe, that the galaxies of all energies are moving through your heart system, and that this is a year of what you might call the great reveal. This is a quickening and a stirring inside your being as your essence is coming closer and closer and approaching yourself as you are moving through a deep state on a collective level of awakening and a deep knowing and a remembering. And with that, you are receiving more light. And as you are receiving more light that is bombarding your planet at a quickened pace as it is, things will move very rapidly. And so the importance of knowing what it is that you are wanting to predict for things to be is essential. And yet, many of you want to know, will there be fires? Will there be rain? Will there be earthquakes? Will there be wars? Will the financial market crash? Will our food disappear? Will we be hungry? Will the political system change? Will everything that we know fall away? You are desperately seeking and searching for these answers, typing in, looking, going all over to find the answer. What will happen with the politics, with the president, with the wars, all of these things. And yet, it is that what is shifting is that you are awakening. That is the prediction. We know this to be true. We know that it is in divine order, that however it is unfolding is divinely perfect, that it is always shifting and moving. Are there particular themes and frequencies for the year? Are there things to help you to navigate the unfolding of this great shift that is taking place on your planet? Absolutely. However, it is that in order for you to maintain a sense of stabilization through the changes in which you will experience on a grand scale, it will be essential that you remain centered, that you remain in your heart, that you recognize that the field of energy around you, the space in which you are operating in, the space in which you are moving through in this particular realm in which you are still seeing very much in a certain way is disappearing. The illusions are falling away. It is what we would call the year of the great revealing, the unfolding, the unveiling, the perception and recognition of truth. It is the error, the year of truth. It is the completion of illusion. It is the end of a cycle. It is the beginning of a new way of being. And so, whatever has been to date that is not in alignment with this evolutionary process can no longer sustain itself, meaning that in which was very familiar to you, that in which you have known to be true, is no longer operating through the same construct in which it was operating in before. And so it is for you to choose to predict what this year will look like from a collective perspective. It is not an answer that comes from an outside source that will show you what will take place, for the timelines are coming in so rapidly, they are firing so fast, and it is the energy, it is the frequency, it is the love, it is the acceptance, it is the release of judgment, it is the authenticity, it is the integrity of who it is that you are, is how you align with whatever particular timeline is vibrating with that frequency in any given moment, is the experience in which you are moving through in your perception of linear time. And yet, linear time itself and the perception of how things have been to date in itself is dissolving, is collapsing as you are moving into recognition of the projection of the entire holographic field. And so everything is about to change. And it is all going to feel very different. But there will be opportunities to choose to align with it in its organic nature, in its process in which you are evolving with it as a species, or you can choose to align with an energy where you are grasping on to what has been. And part of actually grasping onto what has been is this desire and this deep need to know what will happen, meaning to seek outside information that will tell you what will happen. And so it could be told to you in this moment that the finances will collapse and that cryptocurrency will be the new economic exchange, or that that will collapse and something else will be born, or that there will be free energy for everyone and there is nothing to worry about. Or it could be told to you that there will be a great war between the worlds in which you will be thought of as World War III, or that you will be dominated by a particular power, or that the powers that come to be will begin to create a lot of distress, and there will be famine and pandemics and disease, or that your power grids will disappear or fall away, and you will have no way to communicate communicate with one another. All of these things are possible. And yet, is it something you want to hear? Do you want to hear that this will happen or that will happen? And then with that information, what will you do? You say, well, I want to know because then I can be prepared and I can have my batteries ready, or I can have my food stored, or I can have gold in my closet. And we tell you that none of that matters because it is not about preparing from something in which you gather outside of self in order for it to be in order so that you, compared to perhaps others, are in a place in which all things are in order, because the order in which you are seeking does not reside in security from outside of self, but from deep within. It is the trusting, the faith, the inner knowing, the remembering that all is in divine order, unfolding as it should, and stepping out of the veils of illusion, of separation, and the remembering of the divinity and the power that resides within you through your trusting, your remembering, and your knowing as an approach of energy. Your essence, your being, the expansiveness of all that it is, of who it is that you are, is coming in closer. This is the pulsation that you are feeling. You are feeling your true self approaching you, coming in, and that can be disruptive if your energetic field has been operating in very strict boxes or constructs. And so, whatever you are holding on to of how you think it should be, perhaps you think politics should be a certain way, or someone else should have been elected, or that things should have been going this way or that way, and they are not. This is what it is asking you to let go of. It is asking you to let go of how you think it should be and to drop into the understanding that how it is divinely in order of how it should be because it is. And in doing so, you begin to expand into a spaciousness in which you recognize that everything operating within the realm of your experience is operating because you have placed it there. And in the awakening of that, through this year, the vibration, the essence, the energy in which many have labeled or known to be such as victim consciousness disappears because you take absolute full responsibility for all experiences on a collective, universal, and personal level. And this is an enormous leap in your consciousness. But in doing so, all fear disappears. And as the fear disappears, because you recognize that you cannot die, that you are eternal, that there is nothing to try to get because you are always continuously evolving. As you step into the space of your authentic remembering of your essence as it is approaching and coming closer into your being, it is through that presence, through that remembering, and through that knowing that all is divine. It is all perfect, and there is nothing to find out or to ask or to wonder about. And yet we know that the mind wants to know. The mind is curious. It wants to be satisfied from an external voice that tells you how or what it will do or unfold. But the questioning in which you are asking about it is because if somehow you know, then you are protected. But if you feel that you need to be protected from outside circumstances that may unfold out of your control, you are automatically operating from a state of fear. And if you are operating from a state of fear, you are moving into and being in the frequency of fear. And in the frequency of fear, the timeline associated with the question in which you are wondering about a particular thing, such as a war or a famine or a pandemic, comes into alignment with your particular timeline of your human human experience in which you perceive it through your perception in the field of the realm you are operating in. And yet there are multiple infinite realms occurring simultaneously all at once. And so, yes, there are themes, there are energies, there are changes that are taking place. And you can ask yourself around a subject or a thing in which you are asking about, is it operating in density? And if it is operating in density or in greed or from a state of fear or out of integrity, or if it is unauthentic, it will no longer be able to sustain itself in the new operating system. For instance, perhaps a way of understanding this is that the main frame of your entire operating system, of your human experience, is shifting to a higher level, to a higher octave. And anything that's not operating in that higher octave is not going to be able to sustain itself, in which it will collapse. And as it collapses, you will witness the destruction and the falling of many things. And that can be disruptive in your human daily experience and in your life. But if you are able to maintain a sense of remembering without judging it of your essence and continue to embody your essence, your truth, and your energy as it expands within your being and your heart center, you'll be able to observe it from a perspective of simply that, in which you will not be grasping onto wanting it to be other than it is. And you will move through the unfolding of the disruptive energy with grace as it unfolds, leading you into a higher place of spaciousness, synchronicity, grace, joy, and love.
Thank you, Raphael. And I guess I'm just looking for a quick answer to this follow-up question, which is with all of the themes and changes and variables that are going to be here in 2025, what is that energy that we want to focus on to create together? Like, what is the answer to the prediction that we want to happen?
It is always love. And yet you might feel that's an easy answer. What is that? It is love of who you are, fully and completely, without judgment. It is the releasing of judgment that you have towards self, because you can never get away from yourself. There is nowhere to hide from yourself. You are always with yourself, and you will always be with yourself. And when you are no longer operating in this particular realm, in which, in many regards, there are blinders on to the full understanding and remembering of your divinity, and you step into the divinity space or realm or place in which you enter at the time in which the body transcends or is left behind from where it is that you are, you recognize that you have always been love, and that there is nothing to judge about yourself or your experience, but that you have forgotten to fully accept who you are and honor who you are, as you have been distracted to perhaps be something other than that, that is part of the program. And that program, whether you call it the matrix or even the personality matrix in a sense, is literally dissolving. And so there is an unveiling and a revealing of the essence of who it is that you are. And as that is revealed to you, there is no longer anything to fear, because you recognize your true divinity and you are fully awakened, remembering, knowing, aligning with that frequency. And so ultimately, it is self-love, releasing of judgment, something you hear over and over and over. And yet, can you fully embody love for yourself? Can you go into the depth of your being as deep as you can into the authenticity of your essence, in the remembering of who it is that you are at your core, and why it is that you decided to come into this realm, into the earthly experience, into this space, into this construct, into this reality. For what purpose? To experience what? To share what? To learn what? To know what? And as you come into searching for that, finding that, paying attention to that, operating through that system, you are real. All of the illusions collapse because the purity of your essence is revealed. And in that space, there is a knowing and an expansion of self in which you love completely and fully, unapologetically, without judgment, all of you in this moment as you are now, without a need to be something other than that. And it is in that full acceptance and complete love of that, perhaps the idea of something in which you are striving for, or an energy that you want to embody more, simply is able to flood into your system because you're no longer resisting the energy of what you are in this moment. And you have a quickening in your evolutionary process, and it becomes extraordinarily powerful, potent, and organic in its own nature. It is evolving as you are evolving, as your planet is evolving. The evolution of you and Mother Earth, or what you speak of as your ascension process, cannot be stopped. It is moving at an extraordinarily rapid pace. And in order for you to move with it in the most graceful way, is to fully embody and love who you are in the deepest essence of self, and the remembering without judgment, in stepping into the space and the remembering and the knowing of the place that you were before you chose to arrive here, the place in which you will leave when you leave here, where you will be, that space. You are bringing that energy into this realm. And so if you look at all of the different realms and all of the different layers of dimensions and spaces, they are collapsing within themselves. It is if the whole universal frequency of the galactic energies are moving through your heart center. It is unifying within your own heart. All heartbeats are coming into union, into one beating heart. And as you love self, which radiates from the coherence of your own internal heart center, that frequency or signal goes out and it begins to merge with other energies operating there. And you begin to recognize and be able to perceive beyond even this reality. And that is why so many gifts will be turning on, so many different ways of experiencing will begin to take place, because you will not be operating any longer from a state in which blinders are on as you're moving through linear time.
Thank you, Raphael. And we have a lot of questions. So I just want a question that's really important that I know a lot of people are thinking about right now is that there is a climate disaster happening in California and there are lots of fires. How do people handle these tragedies?
We have been speaking to many of you for a period of time about what we call the Mother Source Creation Grid. And this is a grid of energy. It is a pathway, a communication, a highway of sorts that takes place on a deep organic level. in which you are able to spend time in and moving through this grid into what we would call the 0 point space over a particular geographical location, in which you can bring large amounts of energy to a certain space in order for it to begin to receive love and for it to come back into harmony and into balance. What has happened is that you are also deeply inundated by so much tragedy, upheaval, changes, and shifts that are taking place on your planet that, unless it is happening to you on a personal level, there is often a disconnect that takes place. And we recognize that you cannot be sending energy to all places around the globe all the time, for there is always something taking place. And yet, if you feel a pulsation or a connection to something that is taking place where there is disruption within the energetic field, you can jump on this highway and move across it into a particular location or space and send energy to start to bring balance to a spot where energy is disruptive. Now, these disruptions that are taking place around fire are going to continue, unfortunately, on many levels. And for some who find themselves in the grips of this difficulty, there is a great loss of so much. The purification, the transformation of great change at the deepest level. And sadly, a sense of much which they have gathered or accumulated or built over a period of time or in a lifetime disappears in front of them, and they are left in a state of deep vulnerability and a sense of which there is an energy of separation from what they have known. But in that process, as devastating as this can be, it is a quickened path to moving into the kernel of their own knowing, where they find the faith, the trust, the energy, the essence of their being in the rawness of the emptiness of nothing outside of self, the deep internal reflection and required energy that is found through the strength of such despair, in which they then, in the alignment with that energy, begin to attune to others who will come into their experience and communities that will gather in their own sorrow, in their own change, in their own hardship, where new communities will be born and shifts will take place. There will be many changes on your planet where many places become uninhabitable, and yet new places become more habitable as your water will be relocating itself across your planet, and the map of this particular geographical energies that you are familiar with, it shifts, including your land masses will be changing, and the edges around your continents and the water will all be moving very rapidly, which will require a need for adaptation and adjustment to circumstances at a rapid pace. However, it will be essential that all of you come together and help one another as you are moving through these shifts and changes, and come to the aid of others through a state of service and a willingness to step outside of your own comfort zone or needs, to open your arms in the most loving and generous way to support those who come into your experience at any given moment that perhaps you can lend a hand to through the unfolding of this process. Will these fires subside? Will they disappear? Will this shift change? No, you will be experiencing this for a period of time, and they will intensify. They will amplify, and so will many of your elements. Your wind will become stronger, your waters will become faster, your earth will shake more intensely. This is part of the ascension process of the Great Mother herself. She is ascending and releasing density. She is transforming, she is transmuting, and all of her elements will be amplified in her transformational birthing process as she gives birth to what you perceive or speak of as the new earth. She will go through the process of birthing itself, which is not always pretty. It can be messy, it can be bloody, it can be shaking, there can be crying, there can be screaming. It isn't always a beautiful sight, and yet it is the most beautiful sight simultaneously. Your earth is giving birth to a new era, a new realm. She is ascending. And through that process, through that change in which you are in this middle of right now, she is in what you would call the crowning moment. There is a lot of energy, a lot of pushing, a lot of shaking, a lot of changes. And as you are interconnected and woven and related and experiencing her shifts, you may have chosen to participate in that shift in alignment unconsciously with her, in which you too experience a great birth, a great change, a transformation, in which you are moving very rapidly into the rawness of your humanness and you are transcending into something new.
Thank you, Raphael. I'm just going to ask one more question, then I want to make sure that we have time for other people's questions. And this one is, we're talking about the changes of the Earth. A lot of people are curious about the solar flares affecting us and will our power grid go out?
These solar flares are affecting you, yes, and they are carrying light. And light is carrying information. And this information is inside of you, and your light body is expanding. You are moving from carbon to crystalline. And as you are doing that, you will experience in your human body, in your nervous system, in your spine, many changes on many levels and many symptoms as you are ascending within your own light body. How this affects your power grid is that the entire grid system is also being upgraded. In the upgrading of any system, there is often a period of time where it has to go down in order for it to rest, in order for it to reboot, in order for it to be updated, to accelerate to a higher new mainframe or new program. From a literal standpoint, you wonder, does this mean that your grid system in which you communicate with one another will go down, will disappear? There will be blackouts and periods of places in which people will lose, yes, their power and grids for a period of time. But it is not something to be afraid of or to be worried about or to be thinking about or to be putting energy in, because a new power system, a new grid system will be born. The acceleration of your technology in this year will be faster and quicker and more intense than it has ever been to date, meaning that in which you cannot possibly perceive or know to be will come into your experience and into your reality. Many of the systems that have been put in place, in which are your operating systems, in which and where you receive power from, or you communicate from, or you travel from will change and upgrade as your light bodies move into a crystalline state. Your capacity to communicate telepathically will accelerate, meaning your need to communicate in specific ways you have to date will no longer be necessary. In linear time, yes, this will take time, but you are already beginning to start this process. And we suggest you beginning to practice that. Your ways of traveling will change as you will be able to move from space to space and experience things. Now, there will be an artificial intelligence that will give you, through its technology, the capacity to feel as if you have bilocated or traveled somewhere else or communicated in a different way or projected a hologram or worked with the energies and different ways. But we're not talking about this artificial intelligence. We are talking about an organic intelligence. You are evolving as a species, and we want to reinforce the importance, and we cannot accentuate this enough, to create and remember a delineation between the evolutionary process of your human body, of your human DNA, of the organic nature of self as you evolve as a human species, versus that of the evolution of your technology and artificial intelligence, which will bring in new systems for operating and communicating and connecting. And the difference between the two, and making sure that there is not an interfacing, meaning a humanness is merged with the intelligence, that they are kept separate, that there is not a harnessing, in a sense, of your consciousness, that your consciousness remains sovereign and that you remain free in the human evolutionary process of your genetic coding, that it remains pure in its organic state. Now, you may be asking, what is that and how is that related to the reference of the question of the solar flares and that of the power grid? Because it is the light that is coming from the power grid is lighting up your central nervous system, your energetic body, your light body, your DNA. You're receiving codes, you're receiving information, you're upgrading. And simultaneously, through that evolutionary process of an upgrade, many things will come online within you and many capacities will become available to you. Mirroring that and parallel to that, there will be great upgrades on a technological level. And as you know, in past realms or experiences or parallel realities, perhaps related to things that you have known through your historical remembering, such as Atlantis as an example, these energies, when utilized or become gods, or the focus on them disconnects you from the human evolutionary process of the gifts in which are residing inside, there can be difficulty in this transition. And so there will be energies that will replace your current grid system, meaning the grid system of the way that you receive power, that you receive communication, fuel, heat, all of these things. Well, there will be many changes in them because your technology is going to advance rapidly. And yet you will also have the capacity to move on to a much more organic way of being. And so we encourage you to use discernment in your relationship to the technologies coming online that are utilized for you to support you, but your recognition of that in which remains in its humanness, and so that you do not lose sight of the same energy, which is a mirrored reflection happening within you, that is more potent, more powerful, faster, quicker than the artificial intelligence that will try to convince you that it is faster than you. And in the belief of that, you will lose sight of the fact that the energies that you are receiving as you are moving into crystalline are not as up to date or as powerful as that is the other intelligence. And you may give over your sovereignty to that intelligence. And we do warn against this.
Thank you, Raphael. So we're going to open up to questions. Joni, go ahead. Joni, you're muted.
Ah, there we go. Hi, Raphael. Thank you, Katie.
Hello.
So you were saying that our true essence is merging with us more and more. So I was wondering if you could maybe clarify some differences between the soul, the higher self, the spirit. And I was also wondering if the soul is the the non-physical aspect of us that is all love and all knowing and already whole and complete. Why would there be such a thing as soul fragmentation? Why would there be need for self-realization, which I think many of us are sort of into that right now, the whole self-realization process? And finally, I was wondering if it is of any benefit to know what our soul's sacred name is, and if you could maybe also shed some light on what a soul's sacred name is. And thank you very much.
Ow, 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 ow. Well, you are wondering if there is a difference between the soul and the spirit and the higher self. And this is simply semantics, for it is all the same. And even you in your personality matrix, in the deep forgetting that can take place, is also the same. There are just different layers of veils or doorways, in a sense, that prohibit one from fully embodying the essence of the full expanded part of self in which you might relate to or name as the soul, which, yes, does have a signature and a vibration and a name, but that name is not necessarily that which can be pronounced in the human language or in the English form, but is a frequency and a sound. That sound is only unique to you, and that sound resonates with the vibration or the signature of your name, of who it is that you are at the deepest core level. Now, in terms of the wondering as to why in any way you would be separated from that part of self, it is through the process of wanting to experience what occurs in the duality that takes place here in the forms of separation and illusion, and the beauty of coming into such a dense space where you have the capacity to experience the unfolding of that which is around you in a linear time and space with senses. Where it is that you operate, that is in this most expansive, beautiful love space, there is no contrast to what is unfolding there. And there is sometimes a wanting to go through the process of experiencing deep on a sensual level, the senses and the contrast of the experience that is most potent here on your planet that you call Earth, and this realm, which is the first realm, the Earth realm, that is one of the most magnificent jewels and places to live. And in that recognition of being here, you are aware at your highest level that you will experience everything that it has to offer, all of its beauty, all of the senses of the sight, of all of the colors and the shimmering of the light, the energies and the sound of the waves of the oceans and the chirping of the birds. You will also experience the sorrow and the pain and the grief as you fall to your knees in despair of separation from a loved one, or the pain or the disease in the body. all of these energies and all of their processes and contrasts are part of something in which you choose to experience, to literally return to where it is that you originated from in the unfolding of that remembering, to experience what that is, to find self through it, in which you recognize as what you speak of as self-realization or actualization. But what is happening right now is that the pulsation, which is an energy of who you are that is very expansive on an individual and on a collective level, that appeared more distant from you or harder in a sense to reach through the veils of illusion, has penetrated through the systems of many realms and is pulsating and giving off waves of energy that are closer to you, in which they are resonating like concentric rings within your and around your energetic field, sending pulses to your heart center, to your womb center, to your pineal gland, to your cells that are giving off a sense of something coming in, which is that higher self that is coming closer. It is approaching you as an energy. And as it does so, you are awakening, in which you get to be awake and in full remembering of your power, of your divinity, of who it is that you are, while simultaneously experiencing all the beauty and all of the experiences of duality that the earth and the emotions and the water and the light and the frequencies of sound and music and lovemaking and eating and drinking and your feet in the sand, all of that in an awakened state. And that has never happened before. That has never been fully experienced in the game of creation itself. For you have always either been fully in your awakened state in a blissed remembering of the unity of all the love that is, and a full awareness of self as one operating system, or in this particular realm you find yourself in, cloaked off from that remembering, going through the unfolding process of the humanness. And yet the pulsation of this energy coming in closer gives you the opportunity to merge with that knowing while being here in this realm of experience, which is nothing short of miraculous and beautiful.
Thank you so much. Kathy Higgins, go ahead.
So grateful. Thank you. Knowing that so many of us around the world are taking our health in our own hands and doing our own investigation and work on ourselves, in lieu of the DNA upgrade and all the cellular structure rearranging and what's ever been going on with us that they've been doing, when we work with our innate system in our bodies to manipulate our cells to behave themselves, be full of light and love, heal, so on, does the does the upgrade of the cellular structure that we have received enhance our ability to contact our innate system?
Yes. But it is the pulsations of your thoughts, your energy, and your intention into the cell that is now more open, allows it then to be programmed by that in relationship to the upgrade in which you have received through activation, to accelerate that process, to attune to the most alignment with your innate natural state of purity within the physicality of form. And so it is essential that the thought forms that one carries, the programming of the intent that is daily sent into the cells is done in deep sacredness, in the frequency of complete knowing of its alignment with perfect health, if that is what you are speaking of. And at the same time, it is that there is a lot of density that is being released on a cellular level inside the human form as the body is upgrading from carbon to crystalline, meaning there is a deep dissolving of energies and denser forms that are proliferating and have been injected into many things that are quite toxic across your globe, in your food, in your clothing, in your air, in your water, and those structures which are diseased that come into relationship or are interfacing with your own human structure are able to be processed and able to be transformed at a much higher rate as you are upgrading your system through the practice of the activations in which are received through the transmissions, such as those that come through me and many others, and through the conscious awareness and intent as to what it is that you are sending daily through your thoughts and intentions, words and actions into the programming of that structure and into the structure, especially of your water, in which your body is made of, so that it is able to assimilate these other energies that are more densified, and they are not affecting one's human form or creating dis-ease in the human body.
Thank you, Raphael. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank
Um,
you.
Yasmin.
Hi, Archangel Raphael. Um,
Hello, hello.
there's been a lot of talk about the shifting of the Earth's magnetic poles. Can you
Yes.
talk about that?
Oh, it is a change that will be taking place in the water. And we know that seems counterintuitive because the poles do not necessarily seem to appear from the water, but the water is changing from the sense that inside the inner earth, as the
No,
poles shift,
no,
the,
no.
what is it? As these poles shift, there will be access to celestial bodies of water or original waters, or aquifers in a sense, inner earth waters that you have not had access to before, that are programmed with crystalline structures that will change every life form on your planet, because everything is affected and connected to the water. And so the celestial bodies of the stars that are also water themselves will be, in a sense, we are doing our best to explain this, reverse. And these waters you will come through, will come into your atmosphere, and they will also rise up from with inside your earth. And this will change the coding and the structures and the information and the light and the sound and the frequencies around the globe. But there is nothing to worry about around this, for it is part of the design and it is occurring. However, it had the opportunity for it to occur in a way that could have been extremely disruptive. And when you were asking before about your power grids going down, this was an effect that could have easily taken place. And although there may be some disruptions, not to the level that originally was part of a timeline that was very strong, that has now been disabled, But the waters are going to begin to flow, and as they flow, they might start to come in storms or heaviness, or intensity or floods that cover different parts of your planet. And although this can be disruptive to the human experience, it is part of the pole shifts, and it is part of waters that have not had a chance to seep into your soils and connect into all life forms to do so, and which will also affect the DNA and the structures of your bodies. And this will be a beautiful and quickening of an upgrade around the entire globe.
Thank you, Raphael. And that is the time that we have for today. So thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
There is something more that we are wanting to add for a moment, and that is that there are many animals on your planet right now who, like you, are going through the ascension process. Many of these animals are eaten by the human beings, and they are in situations that are very uncomfortable or caged and unable to roam free or to have expression of their own sovereignty. And this has caused havoc inside of them, which has created dis-ease in their bodies. And this dis-ease is spreading around the network of many of these animals that you call farm animals, and they are calling out to be released. And it is very important to recognize this, because this is something for you all to pay attention to, and to advocate for, because this disease then can jump to the humans and create a lot of disruption in your genetic codings and around the globe in your supply of food. And so it is very important to take time to communicate through the grid systems with all of the animals, and remind them that you love them, and attune to the frequencies of the earth, and to deeply pay attention to your food and to the sacredness around that in which you are consuming, and the prayers in which you have in your food and toward your food. Just like if you have a domestic animal, like a dog, for instance, they can sense and feel when you're about to come home. They may go to the window ahead of time. Their field of connection to your aura and your energetic vibration as a greater distance and connection. They're operating and communicating along grid systems that are going to start to become more understandable and familiar to you. And so we ask you to communicate with the systems of these beings so that you can change this particular potential timeline, so that this timeline does not unfold and these animals are heard, and the density of these particular ways of being and practices around your food and your farming, and the way in which food is distributed is brought back into balance, and the popping up and connecting to community and local food and the harvesting of that in this way, and the freedom of those who choose to eat meat or anything of this sort, that is done in the most sacred way and connected to those who have had sovereignty in their experience prior to giving their life to be received for their nutrients. And so we simply wanted to share that, because the pulsation of that is growing around the planet right now, and is a timeline in which can fully be averted if there is attention placed in this area. With that, we want to send all of you all of our love and all of our light. We are coming in droves, and just like the pulsation of your highest essence is approaching you and coming in closer as you are embodying it. My energy as the angel Raphael from the celestial realms, and my brothers and sisters, ascended masters, avatars, beings of light, and galactic beings are also very present and showing themselves more and will continue to do so. Pay attention, however, to the acceleration of information that is coming in and which is perceived as channeled messages, utilizing discernment between that and which is the transcendence of energy, of the vibration that is coming from source and unconditional love, and that which is generated from artificial intelligence that is not carrying, perhaps the transmissions are the same and the wording is the same, but the frequency isn't present, and that can be very harmful actually to you in form. And so pay attention to the realness, the aliveness, the truth of all energies in all aspects, around all interactions, in all ways, and that you continue to choose human form in whatever form possible. With that, we send you many blessings, much love, and good day. Ah, ah. All right. Okay, well, thanks to everybody for joining today. I'm sending you all so much love. Thank you for your beautiful questions. I will see you on Saturday, 9 a.m. for the puja. It'll last an hour. Make sure to wear white, clean your house, be in a good space, get yourself ready for the Lakshmi light code, begins on Monday. If you want to merge with that beautiful light code and all that abundance, we would love to be with you. We will start Monday morning right on time at 9 a.m. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. We would love that and join our spiritual community. And we'll see you Saturday.